So yesterday we kicked off the college football season with a bang. But if you are a Texas fan, even though you didn't have a game, you still got a major win. In fact, your second major win of the weekend. Today, we need to sit down. We need to talk about Texas Longhorns recruiting as they now find themselves within the top 10 classes in all of college football. In fact, the only class in the top 10 with less than 20 prospects and the massive wins they got. But before we jump into all of this, y'all know the drill. I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments. Y for yes, N for no. Are you excited by the two wins Texas has got this weekend? And let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. And speaking of, after you're done here, be sure to go over to Conference Call College Football, a brand new college football experience that I and others will be a part of. Subscribe, turn on notifications because there are some major announcements happening throughout the week that you do not want to miss. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And let's start with the win that Texas got earlier on for an offensive tackle. And this came at a perfect time, especially after the Michael Fasusi battle that took place between the Oklahoma Sooners and the Texas Longhorns. And I talk about these sorts of things all the time. That whenever there are two bitter rivals going after the same prospect, I'm there. Especially if it's a 5-star, that is peak recruiting entertainment to me. Well, at the end of the day, Oklahoma won that battle. So Texas was sitting there. They already had two offensive tackles in the class. They already had two interior offensive linemen in the class. But Kyle Flood is one of those guys that he likes to get a full class on the offensive line. So they were able to do so with Nick Brooks, 6'7", 345 pounds. If we look at the 24/7 Sports Composite, 180 in the nation, regardless of position, the number 19 offensive tackle, and the number 27 player in the state of Georgia. And this guy has an incredible wingspan. And for him to be going into his senior year of high school, standing at 6'7", 345 plus, because you know how those weights go. They can be all over the place, but you get the point. This is a massive human being with a massive wingspan, and there's a lot to like about his game. First and foremost, he is a mauler once he gets his hands on you. And I think that whenever you look at this, Kyle Flood, excellent offensive line coach, has continued to prove so through his experience at Rutgers, Alabama, and now with Texas, where he completely revamped the outlook of that Texas offensive line. Nino of Nino Sport Corner has an unbelievable video that I have referenced for actually a few years now that takes a look at the woes of Texas offensive line recruiting. And Kyle Flood, Steve Sarkisian, they really sought to fix that. And they've done a fantastic job in doing so. This is commit number 5 along the offensive line for the Texas Longhorns, and it's a really good way for them to shore up a position that they just lost a recruiting battle on. How do you answer a loss? Well, you still go out there and get one of the top prospects in all of high school football, a top 200 player in the nation, and a kid that has real high upside and really solid intangibles, things that you can't teach, like wingspan, right? Like that's something that is going to be really exciting to see him go get developed by Kyle Flood, because you have a heavyweight offensive line coach, and Texas has done a really good job revamping that offensive line. So this was a massive win for the Horns, especially when we look at it through the context and the nuance of you didn't win the Michael Fasusi battle. You wanted to continue adding in talent to that offensive line group. You were able to do so with a top prospect nationally, top 200 in the nation out the state of Georgia. And it's incredible how loaded Georgia is from a talent perspective, that this kid is a top 200 player nationally and he comes in number 27 in Georgia. That just goes to show how talent rich the state of Georgia is. And the fact that he's the number 19 offensive tackle in the nation really proves something I've been saying about this cycle, that if you need offensive line help, it's a good cycle to go and find it. So load up while you have all of these talented players in the class, and within every class you can find talented players, but there seems to be a major concentration in this class. So big win for Texas, but it was not the only win they got. In fact, just yesterday, they got a win for probably one of the most exciting players in all of high school football. Certainly a player that every time I've watched his junior highlight tape, I find myself smiling, because it is so much fun to see him play football, how athletic he is, how gifted he is, how versatile he is, and he's not just an incredible football player. He is a standout baseball player, and of course, we're talking about top 10 player nationally, Jonah Williams, who, per the 24/7 Sports Composite, comes in as the number 10 player in the nation, the number 1 linebacker, and the number 3 player in the state of Texas. But we do need to unpack the position rank real fast. The 24/7 Sports Composite has him as the number 1 linebacker, but he will be playing defensive back in college, and he made that clear upon his commitment the other day. This is a guy with immense versatility. At 6'3", 203 pounds, he does a lot for his high school team. He plays wide receiver, he plays defensive back. And for Texas, I can see him being able to contribute in a few different ways in that secondary. This is a secondary that needed the help in the offseason. It's part of the reason why I ranked Andrew Makuba as one of the top impact transfers in the nation. Because one, he's a talented dude, and two, he's giving help to a room that really needed the help, and that is that Texas secondary. So whenever Williams talked about committing to Texas, he stated that, hey, I can come in here and contribute early and be a part of this, and I don't think that he's wrong. That Texas secondary wants to go find talented players who can come in there and contribute. And whenever we watch Jonah Williams, there's no shortage of things to love. First and foremost, he's 6'3", 200 pounds plus, and has a really interesting ability to burst up to top speed. And then once he gets up to top speed, he's faster than just about everybody he's playing against. But it's the burst that I find so compelling. Because even when he gets to college, he's still going to be a fast player. He has a sub 23 second 200 meter dash. So he does have speed, no doubt about it. But if you have the ability to get up to top speed as quickly as he does, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine in coverage, even if you're covering someone who might be a little quicker than you or might have a little bit more long speed, because you can get up to your top speed quicker than they can. That is a really interesting ability, something we talk about a lot here on the channel. So he's got height, he's got length, he's got burst, he's got long speed, but he's also really good in coverage. I mean, time after time, you see him intercept the ball, and what I just said, the burst is on full display. Within 3 steps, everybody else is in the dust. He's at top speed, sprinting away for a touchdown. It's a lot of fun to watch, but he's also a willing tackler. And that's something I love, right? Being able to be willing to come up, make the tackle, be in run support. And that's why I think he's a really interesting player. Whether he'll play free safety, strong safety, whether he could play something more like a nickel, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, right? Because he's got the size to continue staying in the box to support the run, but he also has coverage ability to help the back end of that secondary. And that's what makes him such a unique prospect, is his versatility, his athletic ability. He can fill a few different roles in that Texas secondary, and I'm really excited to see where he ends up. But once again, this is a guy that has immense talent outside the football field. This is a guy that is a standout baseball player. And whenever you watch him play baseball, it's incredibly exciting to think, hey, if you chose to go that route, you would find immense success there as well. So what does this mean for Texas's class? Well, as I alluded to in the intro, they are now a top 10 class in all of college football, and the only class in the top 10 that finds themselves within that range with less than 20 commits. They have 18. The next closest is Alabama, ranked second in the nation with 20. So if you're Steve Sarkisian, you still have some major prospects on the board that you want to try and go after, that you feel good about trying to get wins for, and now it's about winning those battles. But there's no question that after losing the Fasusi battle, this is a great way to answer. With Nick Brooks and then Jonah Williams, both are very big wins, but I must admit, Jonah Williams, one of the most fun players in the nation to watch play, and I cannot wait to see how he continues to develop during his senior year and what he looks like upon college. But can't wait to hear from all of you. Hop down in the comments, let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See ya.